that in the apartment back there looks like crap.
Yeah.
What?
Look at that. They say 5-star car stereo is live now.
They're smarter than us.
Who?
Whoever they are.
What?
Whoever they are. Hey! And it just jumps full. What's going on? Texas, Cali, Oregon, Long Beach in the house. Future, Joseph, what's happening? How's everybody going? So you guys asked for it and we're doing it. We're gonna do it as many times as we can. Anytime we have a guest on the show, we're gonna try to do a midweek Q&A so that you guys don't feel like we're leaving you out of the questions, and also that allows us to spend more time with the guest. Apparently me interrupting them and us having a really good time, because let's be honest, it's all about us having a good time.
Yeah.
If you guys didn't check out Monday's show, we had...
Yes.
Who did we have on?
We have Mr. Carlos. Mr. Carlos Jimenez from Kicker. Yep.
Dude,
that was
really?
a training.
Yeah. So we also had on the shallow mount L7.
Where is it? Where is it?
It's sitting over there in the
You
box.
guys want to see it?
Yeah, if you didn't catch the Instagram, speaking of Instagram, that's another thing. So if you guys caught our Instagram little thing we did, good evening, Paul from Atlanta. What's going on? Sydney, Slamology, yeah, baby. Kicker show was great. I had a blast with Kicker. Carlos was nervous as could be, and honestly, it was one of the funnest shows I thought we've done in a long time, only because I was laughing, and it was nice to have a good laugh. And I feel anytime you can laugh, that's a positive
Yeah.
thing. So. And you might be asking what I'm doing here with these cards. So, here, as everyone knows, I'm a bit neurotic. So, we have this guy here which says good to use. And we have this guy here that says take home full. So, if you've ever wondered how we do our digital cataloging, when we film something, it goes into this one. And then when we're done with it, it goes into this. So we know which cards we can and can't use. 3 days till Slamology, I'll be there. Oh, that's cool.
Look at that. There you go. So, if you just chime in and you want to see a cool woofer from Kicker, this is the new L70. It's vented in the back. Look at that. That's pretty cool.
So, Hoosiers in the house.
Who?
Wish y'all could do my install in DC. Check out Ada at Absolute. He's up there. He'd be happy to hook it up. What's up from Poptronic? Israel in the house. Dang, you do. Wow, that's late. Oh, shoot it live. I'll shoot it live. Good call. I love that one. How does Fernando bend the plastic to make the fuse holder by the battery? Okay, so funny you should ask that question. And I love to say that, apparently. I'm not gonna lie. And this door is bugging me, so we're gonna go ahead and close it because it's it's screwed up the white balance and all that fun stuff, and it's noisy and it's making it really hot.
All right, it's gonna be noise.
It's gonna be noisy for a second, so plug your ears, or don't. There we go. Okay, so as you guys saw today, we did an Instagram live where we unboxed that cool woofer. Years ago, when Install Diaries first started, if you go back and you watch the beginning of Install Diaries, the whole premise behind that show was us going live onto Facebook and talking with you guys throughout the days. Germany.
Minnesota.
That's you, not me. And it was us showing you some of the install progress, and then that evolved into the Install Diaries. But we got away from it once Install Diaries became a thing. Now, fast forward to today with Instagram, and we did that today, and we were like, wow, there is quite a few of you guys that are on Instagram throughout the day.
It's a lot.
Apparently, you guys don't always work as much as we thought.
Compressor is off. Thank you, man.
So what that's going to fall into is we're actually going to turn that into a thing. So today was kind of a test. Lo and behold, you guys didn't know. We don't always tell you we're doing a test. But the test was to see 4th of July will be at Disney, keeping it lit.
This says roadkill the door.
Roadkill the door.
No, for the noise.
I know.
That's awesome.
I'm laughing. It's funny. We were at Disney. That's coming. The Boring Life. We're gonna show you the 4th of July for sure. Oh no, actually, this 4th of July, we will be at Disney. We'll be at Magic Kingdom. All right, back to focus. Focus, Dean, focus. So, because we're doing Keys to the City that day. That's where we get to go underneath Disney. Okay, so we're going to do a new segment on Instagram. Not necessarily daily, but we're going to try to do it as much as we can. It's going to be called 5 Minutes with 5-Star, where we're going to go ahead and set a clock to 5 minutes. We're going to hit go. We're going to hit go on Instagram, and we're going to show you what's going on. If it's a new product that we just got in, we want to open up and talk about. If we're working on a car and we want to talk about what we're doing on the car. If Fernando is making a cool fuse holder and you want to see what that involves, this is what we use to bend the plastic, by the way. This is the power probe. If you want to find out what this is, guess where this is located, Fernando? You know where they can find a link to this?
Of course, it's in the DNF tool drawer.
DNF tool drawer.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, DNFtooldrawer.com. We have links to those cool things. Everything we use, we try to put a link to in DNF tool drawer. If you go to DNF tool drawer, click on a link. It's going to take you to Amazon. It helps support the show.
Yes. Sometimes we use that. Sometimes we use a heat gun.
Just a regular old heat gun.
Heat gun. Yeah.
A lot of the times what we'll do is we'll score the plastic on the table saw just to put a line in it, like a 30/2 of an inch, just to put a line in it so we know where we need to bend it. Or we'll take a white marker or a white pencil.
Well, for me,
grease pen.
Just, no.
Vote for Fernando. If you want the Vote Fernando shirt, that is an actual thing. It's based off of the Vote for Pedro. And it says on the back, it says "Keep Making America Bass Again."
Yeah.
You can pick that up at Teespring/store/5-star. That one is up there and dying for you to come. It only comes in white, just like the Pedro shirt.
All right. So somebody asked, "What's the difference between the X RCAs and the 9000 RCAs?"
So the whole idea behind, they don't make a competitive 9000 in the X series.
No.
There's a business stand behind the X series. It is a little better all across the board. Wait, they're in there.
Yeah.
They're in there.
But I don't have the 9000 in here.
We don't have the 9000 in here. I got to talk to John about that. We're going to do a show. We're going to have John Catalano from Amp on. He's the guy that was involved with the 9000. We're going to have him talk all about RCAs and all that fun stuff. So that was his job before he moved on to marketing. So we're going to have him on. We're going to talk all about it. So the reason behind the X is the X is a little bit better cable than the standard Stinger line, but the real motivation behind the X is the serial numbered product. So that means that they can track who buys and sells it, all right? It has really, and that's what it's for, because they have some accounts that are really, really big, not us, and they wanted a product that they could track, meaning it had a serial number, it works better with their point of purchase machine. So the X series was created for that chain. Consequently, once it got in that chain, it was then rolled out to the rest of us. But that's the idea behind it. It's a little step better in each product. But they didn't make an X series 9000, so the 9000 is still the best cable you can get from Stinger.
Yep.
And that's that.
Correct. All right. Maybe a knob question.
Not knob.
Oh, I'm sorry. Maybe a new question. But if you was
to lower all source volumes, could you peak your head unit to its full volume without clipping? Yes, Ben, you can. So basically, if you want to see that in action, check out any one of the radio dyno videos we did last year. We know we wanted to do more of those, and time has not been on our side. If you look right there, you'll see the 3 little letters that says DD1. We actually have 2 DD1s now because we were going to do them a little differently. We just haven't had the time to do them. It sucks, I know. But yes, the idea, if you use source level adjust, you can go in and you can turn those down all across the board so they all match, and that you can, yes, bring your volume all the way up to 40, 30, from whatever to max it out all the way across. And that's what we show you in the amp dyno videos, and we actually take it from the lowest common denominator and then we move up. The only one that on some radio manufacturers you can't change is the FM tuner, because the FM tuner is your 0 point and you go up and down from there because that's a fixed source. So on some of the radios you can adjust FM, but who listens to FM other than talk radio? So yeah, you can do that, no problem.
All right, I want to read this one. When
is new audio controls amp coming out? Probably the first of the year.
I have a 5-channel Pioneer and keeps going in protect mode. When can I, when I put the volume up Only the voice cuts out, not the bass. Any suggestions?
Yeah, it sounds like you have a short in the speaker somewhere. Either the speaker itself has a short, the wiring has a short, you have something that has a bad ohm load. A lot of the times, you know, the big misconception when speakers blow is that it's a dead speaker. Like, it's just all of a sudden, it's like when we die, okay? We're just like, we're here and then we're, okay? That's not how a speaker will blow. A speaker has many ways it can blow. One of them is a shorted coil to the basket. And the speaker will play fine, but once that amplifier starts to rail up, that resistance increases, it changes the ohm load of the speaker. The amplifier doesn't like that. It's essentially like putting a half ohm load on the amplifier. It goes into protection, shuts off. What you want to do is figure out what speaker is doing that, okay? And we've seen this a lot, where we've had two speakers working perfectly fine, like at low volumes, or just killing it, and then as you turn it up, gone, okay? Sometimes when you turn on the stereo, you hear a slight sound coming out of one speaker, okay? If you hear that, disconnect that speaker. That's the speaker that's the problem. If not, what you can do is hook up one speaker at a time. So disconnect 3 and leave 1, play it, turn it up, see what happens. Connect a second speaker, play it, turn it up, see what happens. If the amplifier cuts off, disconnect either that speaker or the first speaker you hooked up. And what you're going to do is, through passive elimination, you're going to figure out which channel is causing you issues.
Now, if you say that they are brand new speakers,
doesn't matter.
Maybe sometimes the wire is touching the basket, something. So just go like Dean said, disconnect every speaker one at a time, check it, and see what's going on. Hi, David.
Can you hurt a 4-channel Kenwood pushing doors and dash tweeters? No, we do it all the time. It's what does it say? It's a Jeep. Have an LC7i with 40 ohm resistors, 5 watt resistors. Is it 47? Is it a new Jeep? A new Jeep is 22 or 25. There's also 33.
Steven, I don't know.
47 should work on a Jeep, an older Jeep. Yeah, should work on an older Jeep.
All right.
But I gotta tell you, hold on a Jeep, replace the radio. Okay, replace the radio. If you can't use an Amp Pro, replace the radio. The radio on a Jeep puts out one of the most nasty signals you've ever seen on an RTA or an oscilloscope. It sucks. Like, it sucks bad.
All right, okay. If I buy a 2018, I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
It's 2018 Challenger. If I buy a 3-way set components, will be bad to put both tweeters in the center dash.
Do you want imaging? If you're trying to do imaging, yeah, it's going to be terrible. If you just want to have a 3-way set and make it sound like, you know, just fill holes, then go for it. Yeah. But no, it's not going to sound, it's not how it's made to sound. They're all made to be on the same basic area of where they're located. That'd be like if you had a home stereo and you had the mid-range and the mid-bass, and then the tweeters were over in the corners of the roof. Or in this case, they were the center channel. And you were playing 2-channel audio, it would sound terrible.
All right, what would be the recommendation?
For imaging.
Okay, yeah. The recommendation speaker wire size for Morel Virtu's 2-way 6.5. We'll run an audio control D4.800.
16 gauge.
16 gauge.
Yeah, 16 gauge is fine. You know, here's the thing. 16 gauge will get the job done.
Yeah.
Will you get anything going up to 12 gauge? You'll feel better.
Yeah, you can.
But if you're doing the D4.800, the biggest size wire it's going to accept is a 16 gauge. So run a 16 gauge.
Yeah.
The power band and what you're trying to run and the performance and all that, 16 gauge will run them all day long. And you'll never have problems.
All right, 2007 Cadillac DTS.
Cutting tire. Oh, wow.
Alternator.
Yeah, no kidding.
Oof.
Terrible alternator whine, 4400, 1440.
1440 NAX, Stinger, 4000 RCAs, power wire, JBL Club, 4-channel amp.
Tried several grounds.
Any issue with the car or just bad amp?
So that car sucks. I'm gonna straight up. It's a sucky thing. Okay. Everyone talks about, you know, like we're like the new Stinger wire, the new Marine wire. When we ground our amplifiers to the battery. Okay, the reason why we do that is because in those cars it makes the most sense. Most recently you saw the Corvette yeah, there are certain ground planes on them that you can kind of find and whatnot, but the battery is where it all comes from, okay? And yes, going to the battery, it's a circuit. DC works as a circuit. You have a start point, you have an end point. Guess where that end point is? At the battery. So if you run a 4-gauge power, you can easily run a 4-gauge ground. It's called a boat, okay? Boats work the same, it's the same equipment.
Yeah.
Car is no different, okay? So if your amplifier's here and you ground it here, that's cool, but you can run a power wire right to the battery that is equally the same size as the power and ground. They can be the same size. You're going to do a 4-gauge to them and you can use that as a ground. The other thing too is you can run a power and ground up to the radio. The accessory wire is just there to turn it on and off. It doesn't actually do anything to turn on the radio. It doesn't provide anything. It's just an on-off switch. So you can ground the factory or your aftermarket radio power and ground from the back battery.
Yep.
You can drape an RCA, meaning a lot of the times when you run into noise and you've checked all your grounds and you've everything's cool and you've gone to the battery with power and ground and it's still there. You can run it, the radio's out of the dash. You can run a RCA from the radio to the amplifier and you still have noise. There are other things in the cars other than the stereo that you're adding that can add noise. You could have a bad spark plug wire. You could just have a bad alternator. There are other things other than like a bad amplifier. That JBL amplifier is built to have noise canceling built into it. Like it's not made to, it's got plenty of circuitry built into it to stop that noise from happening. So at this point, there's probably something else wrong with the car that's causing this noise. You could also have a bad cell on the battery, so I would definitely take a digital multimeter and start checking to see what is going on. Ground your CD player, ground your CD player to your battery. So yeah, run a new power and ground. So a lot of it can just be done by troubleshooting, by draping wires to things so they're not ran into the side panels. Because if you can get it to go away, then you can start putting it in and figuring out where the noise is coming from.
Hey guys, will the RCA Plus cause your amp to get hot if they are bad?
No.
I don't think so.
No.
No.
So I can answer that with a story, and this is it's funny, we just talked about a Corvette, and this is the reason why in Corvettes we just run a power wire to the battery. So we had a Corvette, this was years ago when I was at AVE, we had a Corvette come in that had been repaired. It had been in terrible rear end damage. And what had happened is they didn't do a really good job of welding the front of the car and the back of the car together. So even though we had what we thought was a good ground in the back of the car, like we went to the frame wasn't welded together properly. So what was happening is the amplifier was pulling ground over the RCAs back through the radio and then popping the fuse on the radio. It's one of those strange things that you just don't know where to begin. How we figured it out was we pulled the RCAs on the amplifier and the ground for the amplifier just went to nothing. And we're like, oh, that's not supposed to happen. So the only situation where what you're describing could happen is if the ground on the amplifier was crap or the ground on the radio was crap and it's pulling through that RCA. That would be the only scenario where I would see that happen. Now, what could also happen, which isn't the RCA's fault, is the input sensitivity, or gain as it's called. If you have that set wrong, meaning let's say you have a radio that puts out 2 volts, and you have an amplifier set up for, let's say, a 0.5 volt of input, and you're putting 2 volts of input into it. Now you're overdriving the input section of that amplifier, and yes, you're going to heat it up, and it's going to shut down. It's not the RCA's fault, it's the guy setting the gain's fault. So gains you want as low as humanly possible. Want them down. Down, 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 down. You want your gains low.
Yeah, the RCAs, we use it for testing. So we use those, man.
Oh, why? They're sexy.
It's like, hey, Fernando, let me get those stingers if you're not using them.
They're for the DMRTA test.
Yeah,
what's up, Axeman? What did he say?
Well, I'm just trying to get in there.
On the Wednesday show.
On the Wednesday show, yeah.
Pioneer PRS-80 or Alpine.
What's up, Jake?
Okay, so the Bluetooth sucks on both those, the 148 and the PRS-80.
Or the 99.
99. Okay, so if you don't want Bluetooth, any one of those will do the job. If you want a 99 PRS, we still have that 80th anniversary or whatever it was Pioneer set that comes with a 99 and 2 of the amplifiers and the speakers on it. We still have that. If you guys, anybody wants to buy that, Paul will give you a killer deal on that one. There's no doubt about it. Give him a call, 727-216-6170. He's still got it. Comes with that radio. So if anybody wants one of those, he will happily sell it to you for cheap.
Yeah.
If we can't see air, can't fish see water.
Do DC audio amps sound better than the sound on audio? I have no idea.
So expert auto detailing. Have you seen any of the tests that Big D Wiz has done over at Wilston Audio? Because a lot of those use very similar boards. Like they all use the same Korean board. They're like different colors. I mean, at the end of the day, you're playing sub-bass. Really what it comes down to is the amplifier's ability to control the subwoofer. If it can do that, it should all sound the same. The highs amplifier are definitely where you want to get a little more critical about it as to what that amplifier is doing in its processing to give you the cleanest signal output. From that regards, I don't know if I'd use either one of those amplifiers. I know that's a debatable point, and that's my opinion.
Correct.
I have never heard one of them. I'm sure they do a good job. And then again, it also depends on what your end result
sound quality?
is. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
But no, as far as running subs, either one of them I think will be fine. We got that guy. He's got a sundown. Oh, that's right. I wonder if we're ever going to get that in. Alpine, 148. So... It really doesn't matter. I mean, I think the 148 is a little bit more modern, but it's called a DSP. Buy a DSP. You buy a DSR-1, put any radio on it, and have way more control than either one of those guys is ever going to give you, and probably sound better. And if you want a main volume control for it, that'll do that too. If you're just going to be playing CDs, though, pick one.
Dean, my wife said you're smart. Run for president.
Just running for installer of the year. That's it. I don't want politics, and politics are rough, man. Old school amp, there you go.
Okay, I ordered my polarity tester, and the CD came broke. Can I download the copy?
Yeah, if you go to DNF tool drawer and you go to the tools section, basically the tracks that you need are right there. You can download them. So like the polarity pop test, it's right there on the bottom of the page. You can download it there.
All right. Let me see. I ordered old school amplifiers. Gotta came with new XLR. Cool. What do you think about the full range speaker for the tweeters? 3-inch. Okay.
All right.
Tweeter. Okay.
So basically what you're talking about for that is a high frequency mid-range is what you're trying to think of. A high frequency mid-range is this guy right here. We have a couple to choose from. This is the power-based version of the speaker. And the idea behind a high frequency mid-range, see this is it. Okay, there's no tweeter in there. It's designed to play up to frequencies. Is this listed on the back?
Hey Jake, you can check the 750.1 Rockford. That will be plenty power for that sub.
So this has a frequency response of 150 to 19,000. All right. Now, as we all know, that since we've all played with speakers, and we look at those numbers, and we go, wait a minute. Okay, so I bought a speaker that says it plays down to 40 hertz, and there's not a snowball's chance and that'll play down to 40 hertz. It really only plays down to maybe 80, maybe 90, and then it just kind of like, So this is made to play up to 19,000. So the same is going to be true on the other end. It means that somewhere around probably 15, and that's nothing to reflect on this, it's just speakers in general. That means that somewhere around 15, 16, this is probably going to start to waffle down. A high frequency mid-range. It's a mid-range that plays some high frequencies. Now, tweeters will play all the way up to 45, some play up to 50,000 hertz, okay? Which is well out of our hearing range.
Yeah.
Okay? So that means that if you really like a bright sound or you like a really accurate cymbal reproduction, you might have a hard time getting that out of a high frequency mid-range. That's it. The problem that we have right now is this size here. This is the 2 3/4 to 2.5 inch high frequency mid-range. Right as we are right now, there is no way to put a tweeter in this. I've asked several companies, and I always get the same answer. We've looked at it, and the problem we run into is, A, we either have to build the tweeter up out of here so high it won't sit reasonably in a car. There's not a tweeter that's accurately small enough, meaning it would just be so expensive, it would be silly to do where you put the tweeter in the center as the dust cap. Why am I not remembering what that's called? Like the Phoenix Gold here, point source. So like my idea was to do like a point source like this Phoenix Gold, where you have the tweeter is mounted here in the dust cap, or as the dust cap. I was like, let's do a point source 2 3/4, and they're just like, you're insane. Yeah. So right now this is the best we got. However, we didn't have this before, so eventually we might actually get what I want.
All right, the kicker. Oh man, that's a lot. Kicker IQ 1005 power enough to drive 100 watts RMS speakers. Infinity perfect.
Effectively. If you're talking the 2 ohm version or the 4 ohm, yes, yeah. I mean, it'll do them just fine. We actually just finished. We just finished one today, which you'll see pictures of tonight on Instagram, where we used that, and it's powering the new Kenwood KFC 6x9 components in the Dodge Ram. So it's the 3.5 with the tweeter up in the top of the dash, which, holy Jesus, that thing's got some tweeter to it. And it's a 3.5 with a tweeter, go figure. So it's powering the 4 6x9s, the 3.5 tweeter component set up front, and also one Comp RT. We also did it, what did we put in what's his name's pickup truck, the Ford? Do you remember what we put in that? Was that the Rockfords?
No.
What did we power on that? They were the X-types. Were they the X-types?
Was the X-types?
I think they were the X-types. So we powered the X-types. And those are all 4 ohm speakers.
What's that, Chicago?
So, and it will do 2 ohms, so if you're running a 2 ohm, go to town. But yes, it's got plenty of power.
Do I need a head unit to run a DSR1? No, you don't need a head unit to run DSR1.
Oh, okay.
And one point I just have connected to my phone, and I was playing everything from my phone to DSR1 done.
Okay.
So
one of the cool things about a DSR1...
Yes, you can use that one too, no problem. The punch 501 is perfect.
That says aux in. So a DSR1 comes with an aux input.
What's up, Victor?
Now the really cool thing about a DSR1 is obviously you can use an iPad or anything like that to control it, or keep going.
Just go to the apps. Yeah.
I'm going to the apps.
Yeah, the future of car audio is Bluetooth to DSP. Yeah, exactly. So that's what I have. The factory radio. I don't care. I don't care about radios anymore. I don't care about 80 PRS. I don't care about.
So here is your master volume control for your DSR1 right here. If you switch it here, you could switch between main and aux right on your watch. You could come over here, you can control your punch bass output. And if you come over here, you can control your subwoofer level control. So if you have an Apple Watch, if you're that guy that doesn't mind owning an Apple product, then you can control your DSR1 right from your Apple Watch.
Yeah.
And that is a first and only. And everyone I've showed that to that sells DSP literally goes, yeah, okay.
But no, okay, I'm gonna take it back. I'm gonna say, if I'm gonna put a CD player in my...
Well, it's not a CD player. It's a source unit.
A source unit in my car, that will be this one.
Yeah, so you get this guy right here, and you get the iPad app. Basically, Soundman is running this in his F-150. It's the same basic scenario. He's got this running the Onkyo app, doing DSD files, high-res files, all into it. You use the USB here on the front, which is grayed out because of the way they designed it. It's using the Dragon DAX. It's phenomenal. There's almost no display, so whatever.
Oh, it's amazing.
It's a volume control. If you have factory steering wheel controls, we actually have that to go into the lab because we were keeping the factory radio in there as long as we could. However, it's just not. It's dying faster than we can. So we got a Scosche kit. And we're going to put it in. Of course, they sent us the wrong color, but at this point, who cares?
Yeah.
So if we can ever get an extra minute, we're going to put that in.
Extra minute?
Yeah.
What are you asking?
If you don't own Apple, what are you doing? Owning Android? Life is great? I don't know. That's a $1,500 unit. Yes, yes it is. Good things cost money.
Exactly.
And that's the reality of it. I mean, we all can't afford everything.
No, like we said, you know, you want a good sound system.
Yeah.
Boom. It's gonna cost you a lot of money.
But yeah, I mean, let's be honest. Some of the best things in life cost a lot of money. I mean, we all want a Lamborghini, don't we? I mean, or a Bugatti, or a Ferrari, or Porsche, or...
I can even afford the oil change.
Yeah, but I can't either. But, I mean, don't you want one? I mean, don't you aspire to have the coolest thing? I mean, that's why we do this, people.
Yeah.
That's why you guys are asking, what's better, Focal or Hertz? You know, what's better, Sundown or that other brand, or DC Audio? I mean, B2.
Oh, Scar. Okay. I mean, we have plenty.
There's something for everybody, and it's all pretty cool.
Even
but
cars,
there's always something
Chevy, Ford,
better.
Dodge.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
But that's the thing, you know. If you're here, you stay here. You buy what's best in this. If you're here, okay,
I'm
time
here.
for Dean's story. So, what's his name? It was a baseball player that we did a lot of work for. And
oh yeah, I remember that.
So he's driving down the road and he passes a Mini Cooper dealership, all right? And there's two Mini Coopers out front. One is like black and gray and the other one is gray and black. This fool pulls off the side of the road, walks up to any salesman there and says, "I want those two cars. My wife said they are cute." Okay? And the guy's like, "Whatever." And the guy goes, "No, man." Pulls out his black card, says, "Give me both those cards. I'm going to send this guy," writes this guy's name down, says, "I'm going to send this guy to pick him up tomorrow morning." And the only reason why I know this story is because the guy that picks up the car is the car concierge. His job, this is the coolest job in the world, if you can deal with these people, is to buy, pick up, transport, sell. He modifies cars to whatever you want. So he was coming back by with the two Mini Coopers on his flatbed, saying, I was like, "What's with the Mini Coopers?" And he was telling me the story about how he just saw the cars and he had to have them. All right. This guy is also buys a Raptor, just to buy a Raptor, and the only instructions he said on the Raptor is, "I listen to LL Cool J, I Can't Live Without My Radio, and you have to tune it so that song sounds amazing." Okay, you know. It doesn't make sense, but these are people that have money that doesn't make sense, okay? They just do whatever they want. So that's that. Can you recommend a good amplifier repair facility?
Oh, man.
No, I have no idea on that one. Most manufacturers have a, like Focal for Life, most manufacturers will give you phone numbers or they have a place that they recommend. That would be the best place to start. Even if it's an older amplifier, like Kicker still fixes all their own amplifiers. They will fix them in-house.
That's
awesome. Hey, from Sydney.
What's up?
What does that say? Do you recommend, no, go down. That one. Do you recommend back when digital amps started becoming popular around the early, do you remember? Sorry. 2000s, they sounded terrible. Are they still like that? Have you heard one since? Well, most amplifiers are Class D, which isn't really digital per se, it's just the topography of the amplifier, but because back in the 90s, we had things that said digital on everything, including alarm clocks, it kind of went with the flow. That was also back when CDs were just all the rage.
Okay, this is a good question before it goes, because
but yes, they sound much better now.
Okay, what does the negative dB and plus 5,
etc. mean when you're tuning?
So
you're never going to go plus, you're always going to be negative. All right, so that is what's called gain overlap. Gain overlap is, in a perfect world, everything would be recorded at the same level, meaning it didn't matter what CD, what MP3, what DSD, what source you had in, they would all be recorded at the same level, and that when you had a system set up for a 0 dB track, meaning that at 38, no matter what, this is where the radio is perfectly fine, meaning that's, you can come up to here and there's no distortion at all. Everything you play at 38, it sounds great. But we don't live in that world. We live in a world where everything is different. Everything is different. It doesn't matter. It's like you're listening to one thing, it's recorded here. You're listening to another thing, it's recorded here. So what you need is some form of a leeway. You need room. So this is 0 dB. When you're never going to go plus dB. You're always going to go negative dB because that's moving the 0 dB up, which is going to make things louder. Plus dB would move them down, which would make them sound worse. So you play a negative 5 dB, negative 10 dB, negative 15 dB track. And what that's giving you is that you're finding out, you find out where the 0 dB is, meaning you play a 0 dB track, you go to the amplifier, you turn it up with the speakers disconnected, and the little red light comes on, or your little, if you're using oscilloscope, that's where it starts to do this at the top. You go, okay, that's 0 dB, meaning if I'm playing 1000 hertz, 40 hertz, whatever frequency I'm playing, this is where my radio starts to clip or starts to distort. We'll just call it distorting, okay, because that sounds way better. If you have a 0 dB recorded CD, or it's going to sound best. That's the most amount of sound you're going to get out of that
Christian?
system.
Yeah.
As we said, that's not the world. So now what you need is a leeway. You need something to go, okay, well, if this is perfect and I'm playing perfect, cool, but what if I'm not playing perfect? Well, I still want to get to that volume. So you record, you set it now, you put the track in at -5 dB, all right? And you turn the volume to 38 because that's clip out of the radio. That you're not changing, all right? Now you go back to the amplifier and you turn that gain up until that little red light comes on. All right, now that amplifier is set for -5 dB. Now use where you, as the listener, has to come in and make some sense of this. Because if you're playing something that's new and hot and sexy, more than likely it's oversampled mono crap that's recorded as extremely loud. That would be 0 dB. So you play that song, you know you need to maybe play it at 36. Okay, turn it down just a little bit. But then you go and you play some of your dad's stuff, my stuff, that's old, and the recording, you know, it was two guys and hamster wheels running to try to get things going, or somebody was physically hand cranking the thing, okay, that might be recorded low. So now you need to be able to turn it up more. So you want it to go all the way up to 40 to drive up the signal, okay? So that's why we do that. That's called gain overlap. Now, there again,
Marco,
that could also be used depending on the type, and that's the generic use of gain overlap. You can also use gain overlap when you're setting up a three-way active system or when you're doing front and rear. So a lot of times we'll do it with front and rear, where we'll set the rear speakers to 0 dB because we know we're not going to have them all that loud, and we'll do -5 dB on the front because we want to get a little bit more out of it. So what that's going to do is as you're turning it up, it's going to stagger the sound like this. You can also use that when you're doing a three-way active system. Your tweeters, you might have at 0 dB because they're the loudest thing in there and they're aimed right at your face. But you might have your mid-bass at, let's say, -10 dB, and your mid-range might be at -5 dB, or vice versa, so that they're all getting there at the same time, or I should say, so the volume is all getting there as it corresponding to their speakers. That's it. That's what it's used for.
Hey,
it's
Marcelo.
just fun. Okay.
All right. Let's see.
So do all right. What was that? So do you do -5, -10 dB headroom? No. 5. I like 5. I like 5 because I don't like blown stuff. Okay.
Jesus, man.
Okay, go ahead. What?
No, I have a good question. Now I can go back anymore.
What was it?
I don't know.
Sorry for missing your questions. You guys are really on. Anyone? What does that say? Anyone know Magic Mike? Oh, I got that CD still. Fernando needs a Cuban sandwich. Feel free to bring one by. Bring 2, please. I need a good tech. We all need good tech. Well, we don't need a good tech because we are the techs, but everyone needs a good tech. There's certainly a shortage of techs. So take your MECP study guides, read up guys, and go get a job at your local car stereo shop. If you think you can do it better than them, well, prove it. Step up and become a car stereo installer. Why not? The pay's not terrible. It's actually a pretty good life. And you get to do what you love,
and it's
which is
stressful.
car stereo. So, well, it is stressful, but you know we make it that way. You mentioned to change my stereo for my Jeep, and then it disappeared. Where did it go?
I'm
just
at the top.
Okay.
Right here. Okay.
If I do lose some control from the car, what stereo do I... Okay, you will lose nothing from your Jeep. Okay, PAC and iData both make interfaces as well as Metra, but PAC and iData make interfaces that go to your Jeep that allow you to retain every single thing, with the exception of if you're using the what does Chrysler call that silly thing? Their little voice thing that we take out all the time. We have Apple CarPlay and Android Auto, so that's kind of a moot point anyways. You can retain the factory USB. If it's got a backup camera, you can retain the factory backup camera. We can retain the location of the factory Bluetooth microphone. We've got hundreds of Jeep videos where we show you if it's a Wrangler. If not, it's a Cherokee or one of the other ones. You can put it up on the mirror. So there's nothing you lose anymore. It's all there. It's all there. Actually, in some cases, if you go iData, you get features you didn't have. Like it tells you which door is open and what your tire pressure is. And gauges. Like you can design a custom gauge cluster for the dash. So there are things.
All right. So what do you prefer? Optical or RCA?
Right now, I prefer RCA. Only because if you're doing a generic car, like an older car, like if I was doing my car or his car, optical would be on the list of things to do. Because we have nothing going on. Like, there's no any, like, I don't have sensors that go beep 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 beep. I don't have any of that stuff. It's straight up like someone's in your lane, looks stupid. Hey, there's a car. Okay, so optical is great for that. Optical is awful great if you're just designing something that's purely sound. But in a lot of cases, optical right now is 2-channel, left and right. All right. So what that means is that yes, you can do optical in a newer car, but if you have a backup sensor that back up over there or back up over there, it's just going to go this side, this side. So if you have front and rear backup sensors, you might run into an issue there. So there again, it all depends on application. It's not. That's it. It's just application.
All right. I want to keep my factory radio. It's a Camry 2017. What's better, DSP or audio control line converter?
A DSP.
Yeah.
So a line output converter is just that. All it does is take your signal, reduces it, and allows you to amplify it.
Okay, so
if you don't want to fix anything,
the audio control has a DSP.
Yes, they make the DSP DM608 and the DM810. So it is a DSP. If you want to go straight analog, you can go LCQ1 and just have an analog EQ. The whole idea behind a DSP, whose ever brand it is the ability to go in and fix that factory sound or retune that factory sound so that it sounds better with what you're adding.
Yep.
Thank
you, Christian. I got it.
Audio control has what's called de-equalization. So you play pink noise in the CD player or pink noise over the USB or whatever. You play pink noise and you hit the EQ button, and what that does is that will de-EQ the system and get it set to the audio control curve, which is trying to get it as flat as possible. And then from there, you can use an external RTA and some pink noise to try to fix the sound that's now coming from the speakers. So you got to remember, there's two problems you run into. You run into what's coming out of the radio, which is electrical, and then you have what's coming out of the speakers, which is audible. Both of those have to be addressed to fix the system. So de-equalization out of the radio will fix the best that it can the signal coming out of the radio, and then audio equalization will help to tune the speakers to sound the way you want. The two will be working in tandem with one another to give you the best possible sound. It can get to be fun, and I'll just leave it like that.
All right, I just bought the Dayton DSP.
Yes.
Yeah, and in this Saturday.
Yes, we're gonna hopefully
this
be
Saturday we're gonna do.
Hopefully, we will be talking about the Dayton DSP on the Saturday show.
There you go.
If you'd like to come and show us how to use it, come on by. Would I need a DSP if I'm installing an LOC for the factory stereo 2000? Okay, there again. DSP allows you to tune.
Yes.
Line output converter or LOC is just something that takes signal, compresses it down, it allows you to re-amplify it and make it louder. If you love the way your car sounds, you just wish it was louder, you don't need a DSP. You don't need an EQ, you don't need anything other than an LOC and an amplifier. And more than likely, you just need an amplifier because the amplifier has a really awesome LOC in it. A lot of these amplifiers will take 10 volts of input, all right? And I can tell you off the top of my head, the Civic doesn't put out 10 volts of output. So you don't need an LOC. The only other time you need an LOC, like a good LOC, is you need something when you're doing... sorry, bro. The only time you need a good LOC is when you have something that puts out a lot of voltage, like 20 volts, 40 volts, or if you have to do summing, where you have to take a tweeter and a midrange and combine them together and then do the variable voltage.
Yeah. What? This Saturday? Yes, this Saturday is the Dayton DSP.
Hi, that's Wayne.
That's Wayne, I know. He's like, I've been waiting for this the whole year.
The actual Dayton DSP.
Exactly.
Yep. Wow. Which one is better, the JL Audio or the Rockford Fosgate? Ooh, I'm going to go Rockford Fosgate.
Well, yeah.
I mean, we use Rockford Fosgate fanboy. As we know, I'm really not, but I would much rather have that over the JL Audio.
Yeah. What harness do I need to retain OnStar on the whine chimes for 2007 Chevy Silverado 1500 without Bose system? Do I need Maestro?
It's a 2007, so I'm going to ask the crazy question of why would you want to retain OnStar unless you've updated the modules to the most current OnStar? Yeah, but I don't even think that's a current OnStar module. Warning chimes is going to come through the unit. You can do any one of those systems will work. So you can do iData or you can just do PAC. Personally, for me, if it's an 07, I'm doing away with OnStar because I'm buying some with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto, and I'm doing a PAC RP4. Any one of the RP4/GM, whatever model number goes after that.
John?
That's going to be the best one to go in there. And it's going to allow you to retain all your stereo controls and reprogram them to do things like push-to-talk through CarPlay and Android Auto. Real simple. Is the Elevate video coming soon? Yes, Hammer, it is. We're actually gearing up to film that tomorrow. So hopefully it'll be up either Friday or Monday. But yes, we're doing that now. It's in the trunk of my car. I've been trying to do it. What I do is I take it home and I play with it and I write down a bunch of notes and then we come here and we film the video. This week has just been super crazy with my birthday and all the other stuff we have going on. But yes, it's getting done this week because we have an obligation to get it done. So if we don't get a video tomorrow, please, I'm sorry, but we have to get this done.
That's awesome, Scotty. I'm glad that you fixed your system.
What do you think of NVX brand?
It's a good brand.
It's a good brand.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it.
NVX is dope. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's good stuff. I mean, dude, trust me. The ratio of good to bad stuff out there, most of it is created up here in people's heads. Oh man, that brand sucks. No, it doesn't. It doesn't suck.
Yeah.
You're a hater.
Yeah.
And that's fine because, like I said, there's two. You guys know there's two things in life. One, if you're not on my team, you suck, which describes how we feel about most things in life. I'll just throw smartphones out there because that's the easiest one, or any sports team that you follow. Two, good enough is good enough. And that's more of a way we've settled for things.
All right, say happy birthday,
Hammer.
Lou.
Thank you,
say
Lou.
happy birthday. All right.
Boss. Okay, Monster, you might be winning on that one. I'm not going to argue on that one.
My only question is the Elevate, it's comparable with the Apple Classic?
I do have an Apple Classic that I could charge if it'll still charge.
But I like it because he has the Android,
the Android
picture.
with the well, that's why I recognize
awesome.
his picture every time he asks a question.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you, Eder.
Kicker.
But if I've been a kicker hater since 1994.
Hey, cool, man. Everybody.
Hater for life, baby.
Why
I mean,
not?
hey, I'm always for pick a stand and stand there.
Thank you, John. Thank you.
But here, I have a motto when it comes to car audio. If someone comes into me, and this is something I've learned over the 29 years of doing this, and this is a hard-learned lesson. I'd have a guy come in and he'd say, hey, I want to build a system. I build him a system. And then we'd go through and we'd talk about different brands and whatnot, and then you always end up at the subwoofer, and what do you want to do for the subwoofer? So I love JL Audio, and I'm using that as an example. And I'd be like, okay, cool. And I'd be like, well, we don't sell JL Audio, because no place I've ever worked at has sold JL Audio, so we don't sell JL Audio, but there are plenty of dealers here in town. Why don't you pick up whatever you want, and then we'll just build you a box for it, and we'll go ahead and use your JL as subs. And they'll just kind of look at you funny, like, why aren't you going to try to sell me something else? And I'll be like, well, the reason why I'm not going to try to sell you one of my brands is because no matter what I sell you, even if I sell you something that's better than the brand that you think is the best, you think that brand is the best. Which means there's nothing, if there's any problem whatsoever, if the sub does anything that you don't like, you're going to immediately blame that brand. So it's much easier for me just to sell you on what you think is the coolest thing in the world and let you have that. That way I don't have to have that conversation with you when you go, man, I really don't like the way that sounds. But that's what you wanted. You wanted the coolest brand there is. And that has saved me a lot of headaches. So I totally understand. When someone says I don't like something, it's cool. Yeah. That's why we carry so many different products, because we're going to have something you like.
Exactly. This is awesome.
It's all about Renegade and Pile. Renegade is an entry-level product. I mean, there's definitely, and that's by Rockford. Rockford actually makes Renegade, or they brand Renegade.
Yeah, I think Toronto's going to win today.
Are they? Is that basketball?
That's basketball, yeah. It's the Toronto and the Warriors are playing tonight, yeah.
Is that
again, the Warriors?
Oh wow.
Yeah, Golden State.
I know who they are. They win all the time.
Hey, I'm not a hater of the Golden State, nothing like that.
G35. And it was very detailed. Thank you, Jake. We try to make them as easy as we can.
And
as efficient.
He actually asked, Jake, you actually asked what we're gonna put the K2s, what kind of amps. We're gonna try to run the Phoenix Gold, the 12.4.
Yeah, the T3i.
The T3i 12.400. The 1200.4, I'm sorry. The
There you go.
1200.4 as a 3-channel mode, like how I always have it, you know? That's it, with the power shift that they make. It's a ton of power. It's a ton of power, man.
This is another video that we're in the process of filming right now. Yeah. And we actually had to put it on hold because we got to get the elevate done.
Correct.
We're just between work and videos and everything else in life right now. The summer, it's just we're so. And this is not a complaint by any stretch of the imagination. Look at the
That's
back.
beautiful.
Look at that by itself, but look at this thing. You guys ask me about Class D, and you always say, "Oh, you're a hater on Class D." I love this amplifier. They're never getting this back ever.
Yep.
This is like the coolest thing, and like I love this. I love this. This is just a little magnetic panel that hides all that stuff. Oh, that is so freaking cool.
But that's why we want to run this one as a 3-channel mode.
Yeah, and use the power shift so that we get the staggered power. I love the staggered power. Everything about this amp is just really cool, and that's the one thing. So the one thing that is since we're talking about haters and stuff like that. You know, the thing I've found is that, like Kicker, like we've been doing a lot of talking about Kicker, and I apologize. It's just it's who's coming on, and unfortunately we have to take companies when they come, you know, because we want to get we want to get as much information, and we want to entertain you guys as much as we can. So you know, we're having Kicker 2 weeks in a row. That's what started this, so that's a good thing. So them coming 2 weeks in a row is allowing this to happen. Otherwise, it wouldn't happen.
Yep.
But what I've found is that, you know, some of the technology that these manufacturers put into these amplifiers, other than generic amplifiers, and I use the term generic amplifier in that it's a straight power amplifier. There's no magic happening. You put a power, you put a ground, you turn a knob, it puts out sound. Okay? There's a lot. I mean, look at this amplifier, and look. I mean, I don't know if you can see. Look at all these circuit boards in this amplifier. Look at all those. Okay, which we do. We actually take this apart and show you the whole inside of the amplifier. There's a lot going on inside of these things that, you know, anymore. It's
looks like
saying
a
something sucks.
Okay.
No, it's like it's amazing how much engineering goes into these things. Like we were talking earlier. Kicker has something like 35, 40 engineers on staff that's what they do. They physically design everything. Yeah, I know they're getting it made wherever they're getting it made, but that doesn't mean that they're not designing the equipment. They're not buying anything off the rack. A lot of, like, the Rockford T-Series amplifiers, okay? They design those. They have engineers that work at Rockford that painstakingly came up with that, as opposed to somebody that just bought a small amplifier and said, hey, look, we have a small amp.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So... Okay, sorry,
right.
preaching. The Kicker key is dope. Yes, yes, I think that's what you're saying. Making my own RCAs with quality OFC wire, is that bad? Oxygen free? No, actually, it's a good thing. We do it all the time. Making your own RCAs is fun. For one, you can get the right length. That's a big plus. Naturally, either twist the wire or get a really good coaxial to use. But I mean, yeah, why not? Go to town. For
okay,
sure.
I don't know. I'm gonna check that video. I don't know what he tried. Which I don't think he tried this ones.
What are we talking about?
Like Steve Mead takes the Finico amplifiers and have 7 to 10. They do less than what they.
That's
rated.
not these are the new TI3 amplifiers.
Exactly.
This is a brand new amplifier. So when Amp of America, Stinger, Pack bought them, you know, it was a growing pain. It was like anything else. They have to develop the brand, and there's been 3 or 4 different guys that have been in charge of Phoenix Gold since they bought it. The most recent is these amplifiers here, and you know they're brand new this year. They came out with the new TI2s last year, so yeah, they're a little different. Every manufacturer changes, and the nice thing about having like Steve Mead or somebody, anyone with an amp dyno, old school car stereo, all those guys that run the SMD amp dyno, it helps to keep these companies honest, you know. So if there was a problem, they fix it, and that's the nice thing. It's not like some of these other companies that rate things fakely. I mean,
yeah.
Now you have, where's that? Is it in here still? Oh, so like. It comes with this. This is the burn-in sheet now. So the TI3s come with the burn-in sheet, and they give you the rating. They give you the person's name.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, they can see it.
Right there.
All right, so there's their name. So if you have an amp dyno and you test this, well, we can call Lauren and find out what the hell she was doing. What was she smoking that day?
Yeah. Okay. What did he say? Mine as well. Run 2 separate 2 channels for your 4-channel setup.
You can if you want.
If you need that much.
No, it's just cool. I like one amplifier systems.
Yeah.
Yeah. But the big brother is in that box right there.
Oh yeah.
So that's the big one.
That's the 1200.2.
Sure.
Yeah.
That's the 13, I thought.
That's the 13. Yes, exactly.
My son done 4 channels, rated 100 watts per channel. Dyno, it was see, there you go. All right. I mean, since we're gonna go there, I mean, you can figure out how much power the amplifier puts out before a clip with a oscilloscope and a voltmeter. So if you guys saw us doing the test on this, this is the audio control ACM 4.300. This is supposed to be 50 watts by 4 at 4 ohms, 75 watts by 4 at 2 ohms. When we did the test with the Lumi to show you guys how to use the Lumi oscilloscope to do things like find out how much power or set your gains using a oscilloscope, this thing was putting out 72 watts a channel at 4 ohm.
It's more than what they say.
You know? So, yeah, I mean, good stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Slimy that number.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Cough, cough, Rockville. Oh, gosh, man. And I'm so happy I didn't get involved in that.
Dude, that was crazy.
1 TI amp sub run active is Dean's. No. What video did you do the ACM? So that was on the Lumi. So go back to, it was tools from the install bay. We go and we review the Lumi. And we don't necessarily say the ACM amplifier because it wasn't to test the AC amplifier. That's just what we had as a test amplifier because we needed something with low wattage so that it would work on our test bench. So we reviewed this. But yeah, check out, it's the Lumi. For those of you who've never heard of the Lumi is the handheld, extremely affordable oscilloscope. This is actually the old version of it. There's a newer version of it that Fernando has now, and I think we use the new version in the video.
I think we use
but
the new version.
For those of you guys that are doing car audio, if you don't have a digital multimeter or oscilloscope or something, this thing's like 80 bucks. You can pick it up on, there again, it's on DNF tool drawer. So this is the more modern version of it, which is way nicer than this one. This is actually the second one. We gave one of these away, and then I bought another one, and then I bought a third one to give to him.
Exactly. It's like what, 80 bucks?
Yeah, they're like 80 bucks. So I mean, if you're doing anything car audio related, unless you can see wire and how much power is moving through it with your eyeballs, which I really wish I could, pick something up. Oscope, baby, yeah. Do you test RC outputs also? You can. Yeah. You can. You can test the RC outputs with your oscilloscope or with your digital multimeter. I mean, you can test for continuity. You can test how much voltage is going on. I mean, if you want the tool of tools right now, it's the DMRTA. And I laugh because someone, you know, we posted the how to use the DMRTA. First off, it is like the most extreme tool ever for car audio. Like, it is legitimately the one tool to rule them all. And yeah, by the time you buy everything, which honestly you don't really need the Bluetooth for it because that's kind of slow. So you need that and the mic. You're at about 800 bucks. For 800 bucks, that's a steal. Whether you're doing it as a hobby or doing it professionally. If you're doing it professionally, you don't have one. It's just silly. But, I mean, the DMRTA, it's ridiculous. And the only one we have right now, because mine is on loan, you know, it's this guy. If you guys haven't seen it, it's this guy right here. This is actually the beta version of it because, like I said, mine is actually out on loan right now. And what you can do with this, you don't need my drawer for. So you guys have all seen the tools in the drawer. You don't need any of that. So you can get into doing 100% validation of a signal in a car for $800, okay? Meaning you're better than everyone in your neighborhood, period. Like, there's nobody that's, unless they have that drawer or this tool, there's nobody. It takes your game to a whole nother level. So, you know, people, and this is what I find silly. People buy routers, router tables, templates, and all this crap where they'll spend thousands of dollars on woodworking tools. Does a wood panel that you put in front of that subwoofer box, does that make it sound better? Okay, does it? Does that, you know, cool fiberglass, does that change, does that help you integrate into the factory radio at all? No, it doesn't. It doesn't do that. So in order to get to the point where everybody sees the cool stuff, you have to know how it sounds, and you have to be able to read that. That's one of the things that, you know, you guys that watch the show, you know we do a lot of. We talk a lot about this. You got to have the tools, man. You got to have the tools.
All right.
The truth. Testing is crucial. Yes, it is. And with that, folks, that brings us to an hour.
Oh, my God.
Yay,
okay.
We ended it with a sermon. What do you got?
Okay, the last one. What's the Pioneer
what is the
out
best
there
Pioneer?
that has most options?
The
85?
The 8500. AVIC 8500. It's the only Pioneer I would ever own. It's also the most expensive. I apologize. But there's nothing that they make that's cheaper that has the cool features. It has the best screen. It has the best everything. Unfortunately, it also has navigation, so it's $400 more than the 4500. But the 4500 doesn't have the nice screen, so you want to buy that. All right, guys. Rubber band, hoi! Thanks for tuning in. Thank you, guys. We hope you enjoyed this. We're going to do this as much as we can when we have a guest on Monday. We're going to try to come in late in the week and do a Q&A, so that means hopefully if everything goes according to plan, we'll do another one of these Wednesday. Make sure you tune in Monday. We're going to have Lori from Kicker on. You guys have seen Lori. She's come in. This is the first time we get to sit her down and talk to her as a woman in the car audio industry. It's the first for us. It's going to be cool. I'm excited. I've talked to her. We talk all the time. She's one of my favorite people in the industry. I'm not going to lie. And it's great that she's coming on the show. Other reason to tune in is we're going to talk about a giveaway. Because Kicker's been here. We talked to them earlier about doing a form of a giveaway, and they're like, yeah.
So you got to tune in on Monday.
To figure out how to do it. There again, you can watch the rebroadcast and figure out how to do it. It's going to be a cool giveaway, and I want one of you guys to get it. So there's only one of them. Awesome.
All right, guys.
You guys have a wonderful rest of your week. We'll see you back here Saturday where we get to answer more questions.
Yeah, more questions.
Bye.
Bye.